Hey folks, welcome to another Burn Pit podcast video. Coming to you from inside this time rather than the back porch. My name is Steve. I'm co-host of the Burn Pit podcast. My son and I, Aaron, are veterans. I retired with 30 years, 28 years active. And he did 4 years in the Marines. And we do a podcast. So search for that podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you get podcasts, and come to our Facebook page, facebook.com/burnpittalk. Find us, like us, participate in our conversations. We post stuff all the time. And I do these videos every once in a while just because, why not? And this time, it's time to vote. I have my ballot. I have my American flag bullet pen. And I have my coffee. So we're ready to vote here. Now, I don't recommend everybody do this because, post your voting on social media is probably not a good idea if you have a career, coworkers who might take issue. I mean, we're just there, right? We're at that point. We're a divided country. So I can understand, and I, wouldn't recommend necessarily that everybody post their votes. But I don't really care because I'm retired. And, I do this podcast, and everybody knows where I stand on these issues, I think. So I'm going to probably break this down into two videos, or this is going to get really long. So this first one I'm going to talk about in Pima County, Arizona. That's where I'm voting. We have two propositions on our ballot. One is for legalizing marijuana. Okay. I smoked a lot of weed in high school, like a lot of people, and quit, when I joined the Army at 19. And, I was bad at intoxicating substances. I ended up quitting drinking about 19 years ago. And I know there's a lot of people like me out there who can't, we just don't do well with intoxicants and drugs and stuff like that. So hopefully people like me figure that out and don't overindulge. This marijuana issue is complicated. I love the idea of tax revenue and things like that. I mean, I first was engaged with the idea of legalizing marijuana back in the 80s. I picked up a copy of this magazine that stoners used to read called High Times. I don't even know if it's still out there. And there was a group called NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, back in the 80s. And then things they said made a lot of sense. Tax it, legalize it, stop throwing people in jail for minor offenses, things like that. So on the one hand, I believe in erring on the side of freedom. Let people make their own decisions. Let people make their own mistakes. And of course, on the other hand, I can see the arguments against it. I think it's creating another bureaucracy. I'm more of a limited government guy, but in the end, all of that being said, I'm going to vote yes to legalize marijuana because, again, you err on the side of freedom. You give people the choices. Let them make the choices. I hope that people see marijuana as an intoxicant for what it is. It is a drug. It is no different than alcohol. If you wouldn't get drunk every day and expect to have a, normal, successful life. You can't smoke weed every day and expect to have a normal, successful life. That's where I come down. So hopefully people will see marijuana as it is. No better or worse than alcohol. And I don't believe marijuana is a valid medicine. I think that's one of the great deceptions of our era is somehow people have become convinced that the marijuana is a medicine. I don't believe that a doctor would legitimately regularly say, here's a medicine that I want you to take randomly whenever you want in a random dose, as much or as little as you'd like. I mean, that sounds like alcohol to me. You know, if you're in pain, you maybe do a shot. Well, you know, maybe you toke up. Good. Anyway, so that's it. I'm going to vote yes for legalization of marijuana. The other proposition, there's three, but I only really care about these two. The other one is 206, and that is raising the minimum wage from about $8 an hour to $12 an hour. So I'm going to go with what I believe is the logical economic argument. And I think that argument is that raising the minimum wage destroys the jobs that poor people qualify for, right? That entry-level people with low job skills, however you want to put it, I think you're hurting poor people more than you're helping them by raising the minimum wage, because those jobs then just don't exist. And I think that fast food restaurants will automate. Some of them will raise the minimum wage. I mean, or will raise their pay. But I think that using government as a forcing mechanism is a bad idea. I do. I mean, it works in some cases, regulations, environmental regulations. And I mean, there's a right, but we're at that point where I think we have enough laws on the books and enough regulation on the books that the low-hanging fruit's been sort of covered, right? We're not allowing companies to pour poison into streams. That's a good regulation. But all of that sort of easy stuff that is no-brainer stuff has been covered, and now we're in this realm of tweaking the free market system, and I think the less you do that, the better off you are. And of course, I know I have a lot of mind reader friends who just know, somehow they can read deep into my soul, and they know that the reason that I don't want to raise the minimum wage is because I hate poor people. You know, and if you're one of those people, I feel sorry for you. I mean, you've bought into this idea that you're smarter than everybody else, and that all of us who have a different idea are brainwashed, or we're haters or something like that. And I just, there's solid economic arguments for both sides maybe, but I think the better argument is on the side of, letting the free market work. And if somebody is offered a job for $5 an hour and they want to take it, that's $5 an hour, as opposed to that job not existing at all and that person making zero. So I'm going to vote no for this proposition. All right, so that's the two main propositions for the Pima County ballot. I'm going to make another video and talk about the presidential election stuff, because I could go really, really long. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you engage now. Talk to me about it. Hit the comments. Come to the Facebook page. I'll post this video on the Facebook page, and we can talk about it there. So come like the page and join the discussion. All right? Have a great day.